So let's talk about the difference between backup and business continuity, because I think some MSPs will use these terms interchangeably because business continuity sounds cool, but all I'm really doing is installing, I don't know, backup, right? I got Carbonite. I'm good, like whatever they're using. How do we get them to understand the difference between a backup and true business continuity?
Yeah.
Let's back up. What is true business continuity?
Right. I would say, backup is one part of business continuity because being able to get your data back let's pick an emergency and talk through it. I guess ransomware is the most common kind of emergency that small businesses will face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
In the event of ransomware, having your backups is, ransomware breaks in a lot of ways. You're kind of expecting ransomware to come in through email phishing or something, and your anti-spam should catch it. And if your anti-spam doesn't catch it, then hopefully your staff have anti-phishing training. Anti-phishing training is a really cool and interesting thing that you can upsell partners on doing, but it's really surprising the rates of people that will click on phishing emails, even when they've had anti-phishing training. And that's pretty depressing if you're going to look at those numbers. But, ransomware comes in by email. Maybe the anti-spam stops it. Maybe the anti-phishing training stops it. Runs on the PC, or maybe your antivirus, your EDR, CrowdStrike, something like that blocks it. But if Perish of Thought, it runs and does its thing, encrypts the files, then hopefully you've got backups. So backups is a preventative defense for the kind of business ending event. Because there's a famous statistic that gets bandied around, which is something like, if you lose all your data, then 40% of businesses go out of business within a month or something like that. It's very hard to
The one I've seen is like 75% of businesses go out of business after a year, after a catastrophic data loss event.
I'm not actually sure of the exact provenance of that citation, but I believe it. It's pretty believable.
Sure. And, like 83% of all facts are made up. So
I've heard 84.
Whatever. All right. So
when you've got that backup data, getting the business back up and running is not just about the backup. It's about the restore. It's about ransomware in particular is a pretty hot topic, and in part around compliance. If you have to report a breach notification to customers, things like that, just getting everything back up and running is about much more than just the data.
So backups are important. I am hearing myself coming out of your speakers now. So backups are important, and they are, I would say, a critical component of business continuity. But more importantly, getting the business back up and running, or maybe keeping the business running during that period of, we had an issue and now everything's back to normal. All of that is part of business continuity, which means a plan is part of business continuity.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This overlaps a little bit into what's also called disaster recovery. I don't know if IT is particularly susceptible to coming up with different names for broadly similar concepts, but we do talk a lot about disaster recovery as a concept. If you have several machines that are all sitting on a ransomware lock screen, hopefully you've